Hey RV family, keep it high, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, the Review Guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. So before we get into this new month of April reviewing music, talking about general music discussion, I have to do my ongoing series, Albums I Liked. Which at this point should be known. It's my general catch-up series where I talk about my favorite records from the previous month. It goes without saying, but they're all recommendations. I put all of the reviews in the description box below so you can go check out my in-depth reviews. I can never do them the same justice that I can do in those videos. And of course, let me know in the comment section below what your favorite records from the last month were. Let's get right into it. Couple shout-outs. First up, the Code Orange record, Underneath. So much meat on the bones of this record. It's a great industrial metalcore record. Code Orange just continues to lay into the experimentation and the glitch. They turn up the glitch meter a lot on this record, making them consistently one of the more interesting metalcore bands out there. And next up, the Myrkur record, Folkesange. Huge change of pace, breath of fresh air for what Myrkur usually does with her music, the very hectic black metal stylings with a lot of gothic tinged influences. But now, let's get into the main ones. Viscera with Obsidian. Not what you usually get on this label. Super impressed by this. This is a super group of sorts. This is their debut studio-length album. I have been loving this record so much. It's a combination of deathcore and tech death and progressive metal and gen. And if I need to go any further to sell this record, they have a xylophone in one of their tracks. Lamb to a slaughter. Afterbirth with Four-Dimensional Flesh. I will say one thing about this record. I have consistently went back to this record and I feel like I find new appreciation for it each and every time. On the surface, it feels just like a really good, heavy, brutal death metal record, little bit meat and potatoes, but there is so much little instrumental density and nuance in this instrumentation that just makes it so fun, and I feel like slam metal fans are going to get a lot out of it. It really does blur the line between brutal death metal and slam that I think is going to find some crossover with the fans of it. They keep a pretty consistent sound throughout the whole record, but those little expansive introductions into the sound just keeps it sounding fresh from start to finish, and it doesn't overstay its welcome at all. Aronious with Perspicacity. Was really excited by these singles for this record, and pretty much it just confirmed what I wanted to hear from the record. Really great technical death metal release, very sci-fi influenced in the way Rings of Saturn is, but it's a little bit more measured and not as chaotic as some of the more alien core bands that just go really over the top. It's not really so far down the rabbit hole as say Within the Ruins, but it keeps up the intensity and it keeps up the flavor from start to finish. And even though it is a little bit long-winded and the track listing is a little bit buff, I feel like a lot of these tracks don't overstay their welcome, and I think they stay as long as they need to be and no longer. Some are very long, some are shorter, but I think they all are worth it. Just know that if you're going into this, you're going to get a hefty record. Animate with Greyview. This was throughout the year one of my most anticipated records. Hell, it was my most anticipated record for that month, period, and I really enjoy this record. Definitely the best prog record I've heard this year, definitely the best gent record that I have heard this year. Ever since Cloud Cascade released as a single, I was so excited, and as they continue to drop singles like Monarch, it really did keep building up the hype for it, and these singles really didn't sell the album short. It wasn't just the best tracks released in anticipation. This is a hard-hitting, punchy, greatly produced, very technical, but still simplistic enough to be accessible, that I think that people that aren't necessarily super into this genre usually can get a lot out of it, because it's a very dynamic and diverse record, and I'm glad that a lot of people are really continuing to get more and more into Animate, because I continue to think they're one of the more underrated bands in their field. And it just makes me really excited to see what the 2020s hold for them, and I hope they continue to make music as great as this. And then Omega Infinity with Solar Spectre. This is a duo. Jen from Viscera is in this band, and of course Tentacle P. This is a really expansive sci-fi blackened death metal record with a lot of influence going into it. You get death metal, you get black metal, there's a lot of blast beats and the frigid black metal sections, but the death metal sections are super rigid and super chuggy. I would even go as far as to say they're very sludgy and downtuned and low, so it's a very good contrast, even if it is a stark contrast between the two different worlds that come together on this record. And even though it is a little bit inconsistent in that department, I think to some degree most of the tracks blend the two seamlessly, and I'm not too surprised considering how experienced these two guys are in their fields, and it's just a lot of talent, although I do think that the Viscera's influences bleed through a lot more than Tentacle P's influence from his band, so I think it goes without saying, but fans of Viscera are really going to get a lot out of this record. I feel like even if this record in particular isn't necessarily as progressive progressive as at times symphonic as what you would usually come to expect from Viscera. And that wraps up this month's albums I liked. What records are you enjoying the most from the last month, and what records are you most excited for this month? I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. Go ahead and let me know. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is J Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.